Okay, so let's do a little coffee and money talk, chit chat. This is kind of our informal video where I just sit down, answer your questions, and just kind of give you a financial update with life, living debt-free as a millennial couple with a baby and trying to make things happen in LA. Actually, you guys had a lot of LA questions, which I am happy to answer. Don't know how savvy I am on the Los Angeles area, but I'm getting there. I've only lived here for about 6 weeks now, so it's like, I still feel like the new girl on the block. I do have my coffee in my Royals cup, which we will talk about baseball in a second. Did you know that I like baseball a little bit? NFL is really kind of my favorite sport to watch. I really love watching the Kansas City Chiefs. They are my home team. Been cheering for them for a long time. Kyle and I really love to go to baseball games. Totally getting off topic here, but let's go ahead and get into this list. Hope you have your coffee. Okay, first question. What is on your LA list to see and do? Lots of things. In fact, Kyle and I are putting together an LA bucket list of all the things we want to do before we leave. So I have things on there like I want to go to the Getty Museum. I want to go to Little Tokyo, K-Town, Catalina. I want to do a full day on Catalina. I'd love to drive up to Malibu. I know there's the Griffith Park and there's a couple of walking trails that would be really fun to do. The thing about all of these things though is you have to be strategic about when you go, because traffic is just insane. And I see why people end up just sticking to their own neighborhoods, because it's such a pain to go anywhere else because of traffic, especially on the weekends. So Kyle and I are trying to be strategic about when we go to these places and then really maximizing our time there. Okay, number 2, how is LA in comparison to San Diego? Okay. Well, I can tell you in terms of neighborhoods, it's way different. So when we were in San Diego, we actually lived downtown in a high-rise building and it was super walkable. We could walk out the front door and be to various bars within minutes. We were a mile away from Petco Park to go see the Padres. We were a mile away from Little Italy and all the restaurants, and we were a mile away from Balboa Park, 2 miles away from San Diego Zoo. It was like the best location, very walkable. Here, the neighborhood that I'm at in LA is not walkable. I have to drive everywhere, but the drive time is really short. I'm talking less than 10 minutes to the grocery store, to all the major retailers, to restaurants, to bars. It's really fantastic. Also, another thing is that the LA rent is a lot more than San Diego. And I keep reminding myself, like, this is temporary. We're not going to be on this budget forever. Also, Kyle's job, he got a massive raise. So I'm hoping that everything balances out. But LA in comparison, where we're at in this community, I feel like it's just so family friendly. It feels kind of small town, ironically. So I like it. It's definitely a change of pace and way quieter than living in the city. Number 3, do you live in the city of LA or LA County? Well, I think I kind of gave it away, but I live in LA County. I don't live in the city of Los Angeles. I live outside of Los Angeles, but the entire area I'm learning is like pretty much you say you live in LA. And then people from the area are like, oh, what part? Number 4, will you now become a Dodgers fan? Never, ever, I will not become a Dodgers fan. I'm a loyal Royal, and I told you I was talking about baseball, right? So I grew up in Kansas City, had gone to the Royals games as a kid, always loved them in 2015 when they won the World Series, and before that, the year before when they lost to the Giants, I believe. Wow, that was insane, heartbreaking, but obviously they came back and won it. And then Kyle is a huge Cubs fan, so I'm an honorable Chicago Cubs fan. Did I tell you guys the story about how we went there for my mother-in-law's 60th birthday? This was a couple years ago, and we all sat out on the bleacher seats in the outfield, and Nick Castellanos was actually playing for the Cubs at that time, and we heard the crack of the bat when he was up to hit, and we're like, well, where did that ball go? All of a sudden, it is closing 10 feet and closing in right where our group is standing in the bleachers. And I was like, oh my God, like shielding myself. I'll throw a picture up here to show you exactly, because ESPN Sports Center actually caught this. My brother-in-law bare hand catches this home run ball. By the way, this is on my mother-in-law's birthday. And so if it's a home run ball from a Cubs player in Wrigley Field, you get to keep the ball. So my brother-in-law gives my mother-in-law the home run ball, and she's in tears. She's a huge Cubs fan. It's funny because my sister-in-law was actually at the vending area at the hot dog stand getting a hot dog for her mom. She misses the whole thing. It was really funny family joke. She ended up getting my mother-in-law a really funny Chicago dog ornament, and those really cute, decorated ornaments, but it was Chicago dog for Christmas as a way to be like, thanks, I missed that whole moment. Anyway, it was great. Okay, number 5, flipping topics here. I got my student loan refund. It's in a high yield savings account, accruing interest, waiting on forgiveness. Woohoo! If you have not gotten a refund, okay, so what this person is talking about is if you've made any payments after March 13th, 2020, you are eligible to get a refund on any payments you made after that date on your federal student loans due to the $10,000 forgiveness plan approval. However, this really only works for people who have student loan debt balances of less than $10,000. So let's say you had $10,000 remaining balance or somewhere close to that, and in the year 2020 or 2021, you dwindled it down to $5,000. Well, now this forgiveness plan is saying we'll pay 10 of that. You can actually get a refund on that $5,000 difference, and then have the forgiveness plan cover and wipe out the $10,000 remaining balance. So it kind of works for a specific group of people in that regard. However, because of this Court of Appeals that recently happened, where they are temporarily blocking that debt discharge, we're kind of waiting to see what happens in terms of that $10,000 forgiveness has actually been discharged and given out to borrowers. So we're just still waiting on this, and this is a whole thing. I actually just sent out an email about this on my e-newsletter this week, is that the reason why it's being blocked is because there is a coalition of state attorneys general that are claiming that this is going to affect state revenue loss because there are state affiliated federal family education loan programs, these affiliated state agencies that have these type of programs, which will lose revenue. They will lose revenue as a result of this $10,000 forgiveness plan. And I just think that is total BS. I find that is disgusting to focus on these affiliated state agencies for the Federal Family Education Loan Program, which, by the way, ended in 2010, so over a decade ago, and they're worried that this is going to result in a loss of revenue. Find it somewhere else. You can make up that revenue loss somewhere else. We have 8 million student loan borrowers who are directly impacted by this $10,000 student loan forgiveness. So if you can't tell, I am in favor of this plan, even though I didn't directly impact from it, even though I paid off all of my student loan debt. This is a different time. This is a different economy. We're in a pandemic. I wasn't in a pandemic when I paid off my loans. Anyway, off my soapbox. That's the first time I gotten on a soapbox. Usually Kyle's the one on soapboxes, so here you go. Number 6, how is Quinn adjusting to LA? Okay, this one kind of gets me emotional because Quinn was so fantastic thriving in San Diego. As soon as we did this whole move, she went through, I don't know if it was just poor timing, but she hit a year and a half. She was 18 months old when we moved. She went through a major sleep regression. A lot of doctors' articles, everything tells you that babies will go through these sleep regressions because they end up going through so much brain development and change that it impacts their sleep. She's never had a sleep regression like this ever. She's always been a great sleeper. So this was really troubling and worrisome for me. And also the fact that we did this move during the sleep regression and we had to find new childcare for her. So we introduced a new nanny. She loves the new community. I find that she still loves going to the park. She still is a happy girl. And then I could tell she was just really struggling with the new nanny. I mean, she is like spider monkey clinging to me and crying when the nanny shows up. And she never did that with our old nanny. And so I'm like, is it the new nanny? Do they just not like each other? What's going on? And so I know it just takes time and routine for her to adjust, but one thing that has been really helping me, weirdly enough, is that I have the Love Every play kits, and I love using those because now she's hit this new milestone and she's graduated into the bigger or the older play kit. So it's for 19, 20, and 21 months. And the puzzles that we received from that, she was just like going to town on it, and I could tell it was really challenging her and she was having fun. They had a little lock box where it has real life locks where that she can, you know, open and close. And I just found that to be really helpful for me, something new, something fun that she could engage in and just be positive about. I love using their play kits. In fact, now since it's the holiday season, I think these would make really great gifts. If you want to gift it to a new expecting family, or maybe it's for your child, these play kits are Montessori based, age-appropriate toys that really help your child with brain development, and it's best for ages 0 to 4. I will put my affiliate link down below for you to check out. I think these make wonderful gifts. It is the only toy-based subscription that I use, that I will probably ever use, because they are just that amazing and I love the science behind it, and they tell you exactly how you can use the toys, which is great for somebody like me who's not savvy with playing with children all day long. I never worked in a daycare setting or anything like that, so I find it really helpful. Definitely check out Love Every. Okay, number 7, how in the world is LA cost of living less than San Diego? Coming from a Texan. Where did you hear that? No, it's not. The cost of living here is not less than San Diego at all. It's way more expensive. Number 8, do you really think the student loan forgiveness will happen? I do. I think the whole lawsuit that is happening right now has some weak arguments, because they're saying these state affiliated agencies for that FFEL program are going to be directly impacted by this. But there is an agency called MOHELA, it's based out of Missouri, that is such a impact, like would be impacted, but they aren't actually listed as a plaintiff on the lawsuit. So it's like these state attorneys general are claiming that it'll impact somebody like MOHELA, but MOHELA is like not even on the lawsuit. So I do think it'll happen. It will just take some time. Number 9, how do you determine how much you need for retirement? Take your annual spending and multiply it by 25, and that's how much you will need to retire. So we're not talking about your savings or any of your outside investing that you might be doing. We're only looking at exactly how much you spend in the year, multiplying it by 25, and that's how much you need. Now, I didn't come up with this math equation. There's actually research that shows why this number works. I did a whole video on it that you'll definitely want to check out. I will link to that up here in the cards. I find that is a good benchmark to assess how much you need in retirement, and then would help you calculate how much you should contribute. There's a bunch of investment and retirement calculators that you could put your starting balance, the estimated rate of return, which you could put anywhere from 8 to 10% or 8 to 12%, and then see how that would impact the amount that you would have in retirement, and then do that safe withdrawal rate of 4% so that you could live off of your investments without ever actually running out of money. It's an awesome thing. The FIRE community, which stands for Financially Independent Retire Early, is all about this, so I love it. Number 10, to spend more money on a house for better schools or less for a house in private schools. Okay, so this person needs some help figuring out the cost of living versus what they should do about school. So I have a couple of questions for you. I don't know your entire financial situation, but I would want to know which means more to you. An education or an expensive home? Also, how does the private school help your kid or kids? What do they do better than a public school? Now, I myself came from the public school system, so I guess I'm a little biased and I don't see what the benefits would be of attending a private school. Maybe I kind of do. I could kind of guess at it, right? Like maybe more one-on-one attention, maybe more college prep, that sort of thing. But would it be worth the additional tuition costs, or could you actually just do public school and then maybe get a tutor or maybe do some like third-party education center that could help them with those things? Also, does location matter to you? If you end up buying the less expensive home, maybe it's in a less desirable location and maybe you would grow to resent the location in the neighborhood. Also, do you envision this house as a long-term arrangement? Is this a place that you really want to settle down and have roots? Is it a place that you could see yourself 20 years from now and still really enjoying? I think you gotta weigh the pros and cons of both of that. And whenever I'm thinking about a decision, a big decision like this, I always make a list. Pros and cons to each. Number 11, how are you doing? Okay, when I got asked this question, I really started to get flooded with emotions because I think so often I will find myself just kind of going through the motions of my day that I forget to check in with myself. And so when I saw this, like, how are you doing? Today, I'm like, right now I feel like I'm in work mode. So I'm just like, yes, do it, do it, do it. Filming always gives me a lot of energy, so I feel positive. Yesterday, I was feeling really nervous financially. Like, how will these new costs of living in LA affect our budget? And also, I'm still kind of unclear of how much money to expect from Kyle's paycheck because he has a new paycheck and we have different, deductions. We just signed up for health insurance and, he also works on maxing out his 401k. So I'm like, okay, what is he actually going to be taking home? How does that impact our ability to not only just cover our basic living needs, but impact the way that we've been saving for things like a down payment? And also, I've been really nervous about my business revenue this past year because I made more last year. I made slightly more last year so far. And I'm going on this new endeavor of a financial wellness program for employers to offer their employees. So if you would like me to come speak to your company, or maybe you're in HR and you think this might be a good benefit to you, I will leave a link to that financial wellness workshop below for you to check out. Give me a shout, we can talk about it and see if we would be a good fit. It's a new program, so I find myself like anything new, I feel a little bit like risk averse to. So I was feeling a little nervous about that. Also, I'm happy with our decision to be in this neighborhood and where we're at in LA, but I'm also ready to just buy a house and move out of state. I'm also been concerned with Quinn and her adjusting to the new nanny and her new routine because it's been really hard for her when I leave. And so that kind of pulls on your heartstrings. So, I was feeling nervous and a little anxious, and I think those emotions are completely valid and normal. I just need to remember to look back through like my happy list, and I think I need to implement some deeper self-care actions so that I can continue to just feel settled here and feel a little bit more confident in the decisions that we've been making financially. Number 12, last question. Most surprising thing about moving to LA? Okay, surprisingly, very family friendly where we're at. Also, people are pretty genuine and friendly. I previously judged, I will admit, that LA was full of fake people who get cosmetic surgery and they just look plastic, and that's not the case. Not everybody is like that. Also, I got beachfront parking the other day and I was shocked that I was able to get parking that fast. And actually, surprisingly, the area that I'm in, I'm able to bounce around to different places very easily. Less than 10 minutes, I can get to just about anywhere and not really have to sit in heavy traffic, which is awesome. So I find all of that stuff to be very surprising, and it's a lot quieter here. I'm like shocked. I'm like, where is everybody? I thought there would be more people. I thought it would be kind of crowded here, but it's not. I feel like I have so much more space, ironic as that is. Okay, so that's our coffee and money talk. I have been making some changes to our budget. I temporarily paused some investing contributions that we were making towards the down payment right now so that we can get just a little bit more in tune about what our monthly income and expenses are going to be in LA. So I was like, wait, hold the phone. Let's not put $1,000 towards the down payment right now. Right now, we need to focus on the here and now, which is paying the bills, getting the groceries, all that good stuff. We need to make sure those things we're comfortable with covering with our paychecks, and then we can add back in that saving. So that's kind of what my thoughts are in terms of our finances. I hope that you enjoy these types of videos. If you do, be sure to give it a thumbs up. That really helps out my channel, helps out the business so that other people might find us and join the community. And I hope that we can continue to share our experience living in Los Angeles temporarily before we make the next big move. And if you don't know where that's going to be, you should have watched some other videos, but stick around and I'll keep you posted.